Welcome to Galactic Grandmother Heart to Heart. My name is April, and my special returning guest today is Michael Lee Hill. This is our fourth interview together, and I will be posting the previous three underneath this one. And I highly encourage you to watch those because he gives us some fantastic information. Michael is a musician, he's a filmmaker. He, more importantly, right now at this time in humanity's evolution, he is a messenger for the Anunnaki. He's brought forth the 432 hertz technology, which is ancient Anunnaki technology, and he's got access to hidden histories. And today we're going to talk about the hidden histories of the Mound Builders and the American Indian tribes in that area. So welcome, Michael. It's so nice to see you again.
Well, thank you for having me.
We have really covered in depth some good topics. And today you said you would give us some information about the mound builders. And you live close to those ancient mounds, correct?
Yes, indeed. Finding out, growing up here in East Lake, Ohio, no one here even knows that North America's largest mound is right here in East Lake, Ohio. The city thought it was a garbage dump and used it as, yeah, it's crazy, huh?
Yeah. You had mentioned before that there's quite a secretive area underneath the mounds.
Yes, well, I didn't even know this. Because of my work with the reverse engineering division and the remote viewers,
Uh-huh.
the leader of that, his name was A.R. Borden, and just one time out of the blue, he said, "You know what's underneath you in that area?" I'm like, "No, not really." He said, "It's the world's oldest underground base, and it's not ours." He said it would be closer to reality to not call it underground base. It's more like underground cities. He went
And
on to tell me, too, that the reason that they made this home base is the largest salt deposits lay under the Great Lakes. And because of salt being crystal, it's truly this area is on the world's largest salt deposits or crystal. That's very interesting because the geography of being here, there's a reason why Nikola Tesla ended up setting up shop here in Cleveland. And yeah, it's very fascinating. But yeah, this is where the mound builders made home base as well.
well, let's
Yeah.
go back to, did it start when the Atlanteans were migrating over to North America, or did it start with the Anunnaki, the Nephilim? How, go take us back.
Well, what you need to know is there were indigenous tribes here already.
Right.
But what we're talking about is the intertwining of, look at Edgar Casey. A lot of people know that Edgar Casey was very on the path of trying to figure out what happened to the Atlanteans. He would tell us about the Hall of Records being under the Sphinx. But not too many people seem to know that he was very vocal about what happened to the Atlanteans. He said they intermingled into the Native American First Nation tribes. I can tell you now that I've been in contact with a lot of the chiefs and grandmothers, this wasn't new information to them, which was shocking to me. Matter of fact, Chief Golden Light Eagle said, "So, Michael, you're one of those Indians from around the Great Lakes, huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, guess so." And he said, "You're one of those Atlanteans, heavy duty." And then he turned around and walked away. I'm like, what the hell just happened? But yeah, the grandmothers too started telling me that they know that, the Atlanteans are the ones that intermingled. And you can look at this actual with DNA scientific testing. It's called haplogroup X2A. And it was only found in the late 1990s. And it only is part of the Native American Indian tribes. They say up to 3%. It could be a lot higher than 3%. For the fact of the matter is not many Indians have had their blood work done, but at least 3% they know of is haplogroup X2A. But when you go backwards in time, where you find the largest concentration of haplogroup X2A, first of all, you'll find it in the large mound builder tall skeletons that have been removed. Those are haplogroup X2A individuals. But keep going backwards in time where you find the largest concentration that's going to show you where home base was. It's the hills of Galilee. This is the lost tribe of Israel. And they made it into the Mayan culture, but then flesh and blood sacrifice ceremonies started to take over there. And they thought, well, they learned something, but obviously not enough. So they moved on and entered Crystal River right across the Gulf in Florida. And that's where the bloodline intermingled into the Native American Indian tribes. Mainly, Edgar Casey will tell you that the Iroquois have the largest amount of numbers of this bloodline, but yet the Sioux, which is the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota, have retained their star knowledge the most. The Iroquois has the largest numbers, but many of them have not awakened to their, as Chief would say, their starry nature.
My three tribes, Cherokee, Choctaw, and Chickasaw, are from the southeastern United States originally before they were moved on the Trail of Tears over to Oklahoma. So I'm kind of curious about my bloodline.
Well, your bloodline and my bloodline are identical then. Cherokee and Iroquois are exactly the same.
Oh,
When the bloodline entered North America and started to penetrate up into the inside of North America, the tribe would never attack the land. They would never overstay their welcome as far as nature. They wouldn't deplete the resources. So when they got to where what became known as Cherokee, some of the tribe would stay behind and the rest would keep going on to fertile new grounds. So yes, Cherokee and Iroquois are exactly the same.
oh, okay. Did you ever remote view the cities or the base underneath the mounds
Oh, yes, a lot.
and describe that for us?
Well, they're giant structures. You know what I'm really starting to understand? Have you ever heard of the Hopi prophecy of, I think it was the Hopi, of the ant people?
Oh, yeah, they saved them twice. Uh-huh.
Yes. Ant people truly means the friends of Anu. So that tells you who they're dealing with is the Anunnaki. But I believe that these underground structures are for time periods for humankind that are going to be going through earth changes.
Uh-huh.
And these are like safe havens to bring large populations down under because it's not survivable on the surface. Easiest way to figure out what is underneath of us is to look at the brand new data that's coming out of what's underneath the pyramids in Giza. Are you familiar?
Yes. So are these cities under the mountains in that area like big modern cities? Are they still inhabited?
All I can tell you is it seems like it because A.R. Borden, who was the head of the reverse engineering division, he said the last time he was down there is whatever these sites are underneath Northeast Ohio, they go all the way to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's huge. And the ones that they showed in Egypt, they're what, 7 miles long, 600 feet deep. He said, what's underneath my feet right now is larger and older. But these sites are under all the sacred sites, whether it be Chaco Canyon or Sedona or Angkor Wat. In Australia, there's Pine Gap. All of these have massive underground structures from what I understand. Now, what I was told is A.R. Borden said the last time he was down there, he took the entrance from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I believe he said that was 2011. I'm like, well, I'm all ears, man. I'm all eyes. Tell me everything about what it looks like down there. And he said it looks like ancient Sumerian, large cathedrals. And he said most of the cathedrals is where the work happens with all of the people get together to do whatever they're doing. But then there's hallways that go way off, and that's the living quarters. He said it all looks like it was Sumerian, like almost like the walls were melted and then hardened. It's like everything is round and smooth.
And then the mounds on top, were those built by the Indian tribes?
I don't think so. I think the mounds, in my humble opinion, have you ever heard of the Tartarians?
Oh, yeah.
I think the Tartarians are the mound builders. Wherever they went, they believed in like the prime directive, or what we call as being a hollow bone. And that means you meet the indigenous cultures at their own level, and you never give them too much too soon because it's damaging to the mental psyche. Yeah, the Tartarians, wherever they went, they would meet. Well, first of all, if you're the Tartarians and you want to teach the Native American First Nations about star knowledge and geometry, well, they didn't have a written language. How would you teach them about geometry? You would use material that didn't scare them. You would use, well, in Mexico, they used stone. In North America, they used earth, they used dirt to put in these geometries and then go, look, what happens when you come into this octagon? You'll probably be able to talk to the ancients and have connection with higher sources of information. So, in my humble opinion, Tartarians equal the mound builders. The Indians will tell you, we didn't build these. We inherited them. We found them. Just like Ohio, you have the Iroquois and the Erie being here. But in Cleveland, they knew that most Native American Indians, there was no horses at that time. They had about a 10 to 12 mile walking radius before they had to get back. So they felt like they could keep their own cities out of the way. And the Tartarians became the chiefs and the ambassadors from their cultures. Like a lot of the Iroquois, they'll tell you that the chiefs were of giant stature and were very, very enlightened.
Do you have information on who the Tartarians were and where they came from?
I was told to call them the Atlantean Iroquois. That truly they're the Atlantean culture that intermingled mainly into the Native American First Nations. The Tartarians themselves went all over this planet, it seems. I'm still learning a lot about that. Guy Anderson is a wonderful pool of knowledge regarding the Tartarians.
I don't know if it's true, but I just saw something on social media that Putin had put out a map of Tartaria.
Yes, he gave it to another prominent leader of another country. That's true. See, the Tartarians, they started working with Nikola Tesla. They were going to provide unlimited free energy to this planet. And Edison's gang said, no, we're not in the business of charity. They said we're in the business to make money. That's truly in the 1940s is when we became enslaved to this oil and banking cabal. It didn't have to be this way. Nikolai Tesla and the Tartarians had everything that we needed to get onto unlimited free energy. It just wasn't allowed to happen.
So to backtrack, the Anunnaki were in Atlantis and they created the Nephilim. The giants then traveled to the Americas, South, Central, and North America, and intermingled with the tribes. And somewhere along the line, we started calling them Tartarians.
Yeah, that's what they called themselves for a while. They call them the Tartarians. I've just, because of my contact with the Anunnaki, they said the most accurate name would be Atlantean Iroquois.
Okay. And then your name, the Rainbow
Warrior Eagle.
Warrior Eagle, is that Iroquois?
Yes, it was given to me by the Star Knowledge family, which is actually Sioux. It's Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota mainly. When I was brought into the family, one of the grandmothers actually said, I'm the first Iroquois blood within the Star Knowledge family. So I was given the name by the elders of the Star Knowledge family. I have not met the Iroquois. Isn't that yet strange? I can't wait. It's the next state over, but I was adopted, so I never knew my heritage growing up. I just had no way of knowing. I've met the chiefs and grandmothers of the Choctaw as well. I got to meet so many elders, and that was such a blessing to me because once I found out I had Native American Indian heritage, I was already filming the Lake Erie UFOs, and I started to do just a little bit of research, and I found out about the Star Knowledge conferences, and I found out that somehow it seemed like these Native American Indians had contact with what they called star beings. And I was like, wow, I would so like to meet them. Then the next thought was like, well, how the hell is that going to happen? I'm like an instant Indian, you know? And sure enough, I met Chief Golden Light Eagle, and he's like, I need you at the conferences. Will you come and speak? As ambassador of the Iroquois. And next thing I knew, I was surrounded by all the chiefs and everything. It was such a blessing to be able to be in their midst and learn from them.
I imagine that would be a really great experience. Now, where do they hold those conferences?
They're all over the world, mainly in the United States, but a couple times it was in Hawaii, which is still United States. I think that they did a few in Canada, but mostly in the United States, just different places. A couple times was in Estes Park, Colorado.
Getting back to the mounds, are those built over particular ley lines?
Yes. Wow, you're on it. Yes. Yeah, they would mark where ley lines cross because that creates vortexes of energy. And actually, at some of these mount sites, you'll find that they would use sycamore trees. If you put a sycamore tree as an infant right into a vortex, when the tree's limbs come up, they spin and they could mark vortexes of energy that way. But
Oh,
because of this, too, like the NSA told me, they're called the ACIO. They said, Michael, they said, you're living almost smack dab on top of the vortex in East Lake. And they said, a matter of fact, we don't even know how you could be living there. And since the largest vortex on the planet is in East Lake, Ohio, the Native Americans that lived in this area, they would not go into a high vortex area unless they got their heads straight, unless they did saging and dancing. And they wouldn't bring negative, lower vibrational thought forms into a high vortex area. That's how nightmares happen.
have you been able to look back and see how living there has affected you?
It's all still unfolding. It's becoming apparent why I'm here. Found the lost tribe of Israel megalithic stone temple up in the woods here. It's a restricted area. No one would be able to find it, but I've been guided to it. This area is so rich in my own personal history. I think that's why I had to be back here from Florida because everything is culminating right around this area. I can tell people that's interested, though, there is a brand new book called Lost Lake County, and it's all about the Native American Indian culture that was in this area. The first chapter is, anyhow, from the little old lady museum curator. Her name's Anne, and she gave up a lot of info for that book, which really pleased me because she's getting older, and it's good that it's cataloged.
Is there anything else that you can tell us about the mounds in that area? I've seen where some people have taken hikes up there and meditated and used sound bowls and so forth to try and connect in to the energies. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm planning on doing is the Anunnaki told me they're taking out first contact out of the hands of the governments and putting it back into the hands of the people. In particular, they said I'm going to start to do conferences here in Northeast Ohio and bring in Native American Indian elders, bring in people from the UFO community, bring in scientists. But then unlike any other conference in the world, we all take a field trip. We all go down to the lake and see the chariots of fire, orbs of light, whatever you want to call them, come
Yeah.
up out of the lake and see it for yourself. I think it's time to start experiencing it for yourself instead of having other people tell you about it. So I'm excited about that.
Have you started to make any plans? Do you know when that will take place?
I've done one already, which was just fun. These are going to be really loose. I'm thinking about doing once a month that's just scheduled so people will know. But other than that, I'm just going to put up, hey, meet me at the Painesville. They're called stellar pathways, these new walking trails. But the Anunnaki had told me that they're going to put in these walking trails alongside Lake Erie. I'm like, well, really? Okay. Well, it really happened in Painesville Township Park. People can go and Google that. And lo and behold, there's a 2.5 mile walking trail. I was expecting just a dirt path. I wasn't expecting a road that had been put in for people to go and check out, but I thought that was it. I thought, oh my God, they did what they said. But then all the way from Painesville, which is about 25 miles from Cleveland, all along the shore. In Menor, Ohio, more walking trails. East Lake, Ohio, where I'm at, where I filmed all the UFOs, they're putting in a mile of walking trails here. And then in Euclid is the next city to the west, and they already have all those walking trails done and a pier going out into the lake. And now all these walking trails are being put into Cleveland as well. So I'm just going to start going down and telling people I'll be at East Lake Stellar Pathway tonight. Come and join if you want. That's how I'm going to handle it.
Now they've provided walkways and places to look out over the lake to see a
Yes.
ship. That's fantastic.
And they've done such a nice job with it. Like all of them are handicap accessible. So like my mother, when she was still with us, she was wheelchair bound. So be able to get her right down. It's like a big, almost like a horseshoe that takes you down to the walking trail. And it was just really well, like picture this. Obviously, they are telling people that they want people to enjoy the beauty of Lake Erie because the sunsets are truly magical. But yeah, I'm excited about it. They said this is where first contact will happen because the more people I bring down, or the more people that just start to go down
Uh-huh.
and utilize these paths, they're going to see it. Matter of fact, there's been UFO after UFO report of people from that area in Ohio saying, we live next to the lake and all these orbs are coming up out of the lake and flying around. That's been on the news.
I had heard that people were going to start getting personally connected or contacted, that that was going to be another way disclosure was going to take place.
That makes perfect sense to me. They're like, put it back into the hands of the people. Because they said once people start going down to these paths, more and more people are going to start to film it, especially when I start bringing 100 people down to the lake at a time and everyone's got their cell phones. Once a bunch of people starts getting film, I got tons of media contacts within Cleveland, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox News here in Cleveland. I can definitely just, hey, check out all this. But they said the deal is that the more people experience what's going on, the more it'll grow and the closer they will get to the shore and really put on a show. But sooner or later, within the next few years, it said, don't be shocked when you're met by a very glowy individual walking towards you on the path.
What else have the Anunnaki been telling you about disclosure or anything else that's going on in the world right now?
Well, they told me that even before everything that we're seeing in the world, they said, Michael, some people that are like Ebenezer Scrooge, that have oligarchy type thinking and manifest destiny thinking, the only way that they'll ever learn to be more compassionate and help other people is they need to be spiritually terrorized. I went, well, that sounds horrible. And I said, some people need to be visited by the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. Now I get it. I'm like, all the shit that used to be hidden and all your old tricks of keeping things hidden, none of it is working anymore. I look at it, yeah, I think that they're right, that we are in the Anunnaki Christmas Carol. But right away that they started playing in my mind's ear, is that a new word? The song Shock the Monkey by Peter Gabriel. And I understood it in a new way. It says, watch the monkey get hurt. Shock, shock, shock the monkey to life. I don't like it. Don't like it, but I guess I'm learning. So once I understood what was happening, I actually asked to make it as scary as possible. I thought after that, I'm like, all right, I was just joking. It's getting pretty freaking scary out there. Before we can move into a new galactic society, all of the wrongdoings and the manipulation of the oligarchy and how we've been enslaved, that all has to come to the surface and can't go into the golden age with those kind of skeletons in the closet.
So the Anunnaki or Tartarians, they have beautiful buildings that are just under cities and so forth around the globe.
Yes.
And those were all, I would imagine, built over ley lines as well.
Yes, yes. They knew how to harness etheric energy out of ley lines, just like Tesla. Get out to your local Mound Builders site and feel the energy for yourself. Go there and meditate. And talking about it won't do it. Suit avatar for Enlil, Yahweh, my brother, was Chief Golden Light Eagle. He said, Michael, this isn't the first time you and I have incarnated into the same timeline. We've incarnated many times before, and the last time was not pleasant. I'm thinking, oh, what did I do now? He said, but I understand now you have been only showing me my own darkness. And you see, that side of the family, and they're not wrong. All they see is how humans easily give their energy, their I am, away to illusionary outside sources. That stuff is not allowed in higher realms of consciousness. If you end up realm of consciousness where thought is manifest instantly and you have lower vibrational thinking going on in your belief system, you can't exist there. It's just that simple. You'll just manifest your deepest fears and get kicked back and get a do-over, I guess.
There have really been some interesting and unique crop circles.
Yes.
And you have connections to the crop circles through your 432 information, right? And have you been seeing new crop circles that you're being given more information about?
Yes, but I'm still waiting for some seven-pointed star crop circles. Yeah, when I was taken into the ACIO, I didn't know that the Anunnaki themselves would start to teach me. Like they kind of use crop circles like a chalkboard in a classroom to show me the geometry attached to cosmic harmonious frequencies. The 432 frequency is well like the most because when you put through a 432 based frequency, which is 27 hertz, by the way, to find out any octave scientifically wherever you're at, all you do is multiply or divide by two. So if you want to find the lower octave, because say you got your middle A note on a piano, well, there's still more A notes to the left, and they're called octaves. So 432 divided by 2 is 216. 216 divided by 2 is 108, then 54 and 27. If you put a 27 hertz frequency through a scientific cymatic device that makes frequency visible, a perfect seven-pointed star is shown. So it's like the seven-pointed star and the cosmic harmonious frequencies. It's two different gift wrapping of the exact same star knowledge. So yeah, they've used the crop circles tremendously to guide me into the final bit of that was showing me a brand new seed of life. The seed of life we all know of is six petaled, which when you connect the dots, it makes the Star of David or the double tetrahedron. This is a seven petaled seed of life. It's a brand new beast because to make a seven-pointed star is 360 divided by 7, but that lands irrational number that never resolves. And all other sacred geometry divides into whole numbers. That's why, like any other geometry, you could take a six-petaled seed of life and tile your bathroom floor with it. It tiles evenly. A seven-petaled star or the heptagram, you cannot tile a bathroom floor with it. You'll have open spots. It only works on curved space. Isn't that interesting?
Ooh, that is interesting. Have you been contacted anymore by NSA or ACIO?
Yes, it's been a couple months that I received a briefing and told me these underground structures, they don't have ignition switches to turn them on. I'm talking about the places under the Giza pyramid and under my feet right now, and
Mhm.
under all of these sites. They are frequency activated, and you have to know a very specific string of tones, and they have to be intonated properly. It's la, 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 and then you can move it around to different chakras. That's how these sites are activated. And since the largest chakra, the largest planetary vortex on this planet is underneath my feet here, they told me this is where I needed to activate this site, and then that would activate all the other sites. So hopefully they're all on now.
Oh, so you did activate it.
Yeah.
I've heard about that through another whistleblower, ex-military that's gone to different places like ships under the sea and in Antarctica. And he said that they are turned on by frequencies.
Yes. Yes. And not only they got to be intonated right, you have to be in the 432 grid, math, physics, and you have to know what, interestingly enough, They're called the Yahweh frequencies. And people think that is YHWH. It's not. It's YHYW. And those are indicators to frequencies. And it's na, 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 na. Thankfully, I'm a musician and I got the tools to be able to sing it. Yeah, I went into downtown Cleveland. I know where Nikola Tesla was tapping the energy off of what's underneath us here. It's called Terminal Tower, by the way. Some people might know it as Tower City. I went there and did the work. That was about 6 months ago. We'll see what happens.
What is the purpose of activating it?
It turns on the Tartarian energy system of this whole planet. Unlimited free energy for the whole entire planet. That's
Will
kind
we,
of huge.
will people be able to tap into that? How's that
Oh,
work?
yeah. When Tesla showed them his work, this is fascinating because your listeners type in Euclid, Ohio, and Millionaires Row. You'll find out that over 300 of the world's wealthiest families moved to Euclid, Ohio, which is the next city over from Cleveland, where Tesla had everything ready to show them what he was bringing to the table. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, they all moved here. Imagine these people at this time in the timeline. For these people that got here, the only mode of transportation, you were either on horseback, you were on foot, or you're on horse-drawn carriage. That's it. Nikola Tesla built the first AC powered wireless trolley car system that went from 12 miles from Cleveland, Terminal Tower. That's why it was called Terminal Tower, because it was where the rail car system terminated. And it went right through the middle of Euclid Avenue. Can you imagine these most wealthy people on the planet going out and there is a wireless trolley car that was built like Tartarian, beautiful woodworking, and so on and so forth? They had to think it was like a spaceship. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? We're in, where's the horses or whatever? But then when they got to Terminal Tower, Nikola Tesla had a Tesla tower that was powered by a man-made waterfall within Terminal Tower itself. That still flows still to this day, by the way. They took out the tower, but along about every 5 miles, they had a group of people that were holding a light bulb. And when he flipped the switch, all the light bulbs lit up. And
Wow.
that's when, imagine the oil and banking families going, wait a minute, this is the end of our empire. And they knew it. That's why Edison started sabotaging Nikola Tesla's own laboratories and started electrocuting live animals, including an elephant, in front of people to say, look, Tesla's technologies are not safe. Can you imagine if we would have went with Nikola Tesla and unlimited free energy back in the 1940s? I've done the math, by the way. It's trillions of dollars. We'd be further ahead. But that's what the oligarchy has stolen from us.
It's terrible. The more you dive into it, the more you realize even now the technology that's being withheld that could save lives.
They're not very much interested. Those
Right.
type of people, they're just interested in their own wallets. And like I said, they don't have functioning emotional bodies, it seems like. They don't have functioning compassion.
What do the Anunnaki say about the different extraterrestrial races that are on Earth right now?
I said that there's so many that they're not countable. But as far as who's here on planet Earth, there's no other race that is more intertwined into human history than the Anunnaki. There might be other small pockets here and there, possibly in reverse engineering, but nothing compares to the Anunnaki being intertwined in Earth history for thousands upon thousands of years.
And what about, I've heard that say the Palladians and other commonly mentioned extraterrestrials have sent in teachers to help us to spiritually evolve. Have the Anunnaki done that as well?
The Anunnaki on my side of the family are half Pleiadian. That's what a lot of people seem to think, that the Anunnaki is one bloodline, and it's not. My mother was Pleiadian. My father was Anunnaki. That was the first rubbing point because of the Anunnaki's succession of kingship. A full blood gets the throne over a half blood. So a good portion of my life, I was Prince Ea. But then that relationship between the Pleiadian queen and the king of the Anunnaki that ended, and he got a new Anunnaki wife and had Enlil or Yahweh, which was he was pure blood, so the throne went to him instead of I. But when I met them, they said that that's changing now because they said they found out that keeping the bloodline that bottlenecked caused problems for them, just like it caused for humans of like causing genetic issues when
Huh.
you keep the genetics that bottled up. So they decided that they're going to allow new blood into the kingship line. But I understand though, kingship to them does not mean what it means to us. A.R. Borden told me not everyone's mental energy affects the mass consciousness. On the flip side, there's some of us whose mental energy affects this mass consciousness the most. So yeah, I look at it as young souls and old souls. I don't think there's any hierarchy. It's like not, but for kingship, the last person that had kingship over this planet was my brother. And his bigger picture was we'd never be ready. We would never evolve to the point that we stopped giving our energy away to illusionary outside sources. My bigger picture is without keeping mankind enslaved in an oil and banking economic slavery system, we'd be able to do much better. And I didn't think it was quite right to be judging mankind with our hands tied behind our backs. So they've given me, and Enlil was not happy about this. They said they've given me kingship for my role of my a bigger picture being granted a try. And Enlil, during a group of meeting with all of us, he said, this is the first time ever that mankind is going to enter a new time cycle with no rules. And he looked at me, he said, because rules are control, right, Michael? And he said it with a lot of piss and vinegar in his voice, too. Like, you have no idea what you've asked for. And I don't really care anymore. It's like, give us a shot. If we don't hold up to our end of the bargain, so be it. But we'll never know unless humans are given the range, like free range humans.
Right. I don't think it's any mistake that you're a musician, that you live where you live, and that everything has transpired in your life from first filming those ships over the lake into finding out your true heritage. It's just, you can look back and see how this has been very well designed to get you to where you are today.
It's a little bit much on my head. And even some of my friends, I got a dear friend, her name is Kathy. And since I had eye surgery, she's just been a godsend. But she's like, it's so much for me to realize this is real. This is all true and it's really happening because a lot of it, she's been there and experienced it with me. So it's, in some ways, it does make a person feel a little lonely. It's like all my friends want to talk about the Cleveland Browns and the Indians, and it's like I'm not interested in any of that stuff. And I've learned I can't talk about things that interest me. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Well, I love to pick your brain about all the hidden histories and the spiritual stuff. So we'll have to get back together for another conversation. And I'd like to hear about how these sunset night watches are going to pan out when you start taking people down to the lake
I'm
on
excited
discovered
about that.
pathways.
The
Yeah.
first one just happened, and it just so happened I was down there. I had my acoustic guitar, and then a really good friend of mine that is an unbelievable saxophone player. I'm like, dude, you got your saxophone? He's like, yeah, grab it. So there's a lady playing a singing bowl, and I was playing my acoustic, and we're all tuned to 432, even the sax. It was quite magical.
Well, I thank you so much for coming back on and sharing your
Well,
knowledge.
thank you as
There's
always. Always a pleasure speaking with you.
There's still more. Like I said, I've got pages here of questions I could ask you.
Anytime. Like I said, this cuts down on my loneliness. It's like, wow, here's someone I can actually talk to. So thank
Oh,
you.
oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. And I'm sure my audience's pleasure to get the information that only you can provide. Thank you very much. You have a
Thank you.
wonderful week and we will talk soon.
Sounds good.
All righty.
Peace.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.